Goedendag, good day. How are you lovely human being feeling at this moment? My name is Phylicia Joy Kloes, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about my experiences with the third trimester, which I'm currently very much in. In last week's video, I talked about my experiences with the second trimester of pregnancy, and I mentioned that I was leaking some colostrum. During the third trimester, I noticed that there were actual drips. Like, it was a lot more than I anticipated what was gonna happen. So even if I were to just lay down, I could sometimes notice that a drip would fall down and then get onto the bed, for example. So the amount of drips would become a lot more. And I just had to clean the bed more often, or I have to clean the bed more often because that milk gets harder and it's kind of like sandpaper texture, so it's not really nice. But yeah, that happened during the third trimester, which is common, and that is okay too. I am not yet capturing the colostrum. I am thinking of doing that around week 39 to 40 to collect some colostrum already and freeze it in. The reason I'm not wanting to do it right now yet, which currently I am today exactly 37 weeks, is because I would like for a baby to just stay a little longer. And I have read online that enhancing your milk stimulation could increase your oxytocin, which could increase the chance of labor starting. So that's why I'm not yet. However, the doctor did tell me I could already start collecting from 37 weeks and onward. At the beginning of the third trimester, the tummy lift was again a lovely thing to do. Now I don't ask my partner that much for the tummy lift anymore, probably because I'm getting more used to carrying more weight, and laying down to relax helps me to have the weight flat for a little while. So in the third trimester, the right hip uncomfortable feeling came back more often, which made me realize that I had to do the exercises more. So I thought, you know, I'm sitting up straight, I'm standing against the wall. Why is it still happening so much? And at some point I just started to feel like, oh, maybe this is just something that my body copes with, and it's just the right side that feels uncomfortable. But later on I learned what else I can do. I would sometimes get a cramp in my area down there, and I learned that that is called lightning crotch. So that's what I was starting to feel. So just out of nowhere, like a stinging sensation, and then it would go away. I started to really like taking naps, which is something I never thought I was gonna say, because before I would just wanna spend most of my day awake and do all the things, do all the projects. And there's still a part of me that wants to. However, I can cave in to a nap more quickly, especially after I do a meditation and I notice, oh, I'm pretty tired actually, let me just close my eyes a little longer, and there I am laying in the bed for an hour. And I think it's so funny because whenever I do a meditation, I tell my partner, hey, I'm gonna meditate for a little bit, and then I come back in 15 minutes, he's like, wait, I thought you were gonna relax. And I tell him, yeah, I did. He's like, yeah, but I thought you were gonna relax for like an hour or so. So I think that's funny that he's also really helping me to take it slow and not want to do too much, which I like doing a lot. However, I am more open for taking naps now. Speaking of which, I might be taking a nap after this. Something else I noticed in the third trimester is that it was easier for me to just let go and lower the bar, especially at work, because things were literally growing and getting in the way more and taking more of my energy since there's more weight to carry. So that helped to think, you know what, I'm not going to do this today. I'm letting this be. And the perfectionist in me found it quite difficult to leave a classroom behind where I didn't dot all the T's I wanted to, or dot all the I's, cross all the T's. But that's just how it is. And accepting it is a little quicker now compared to before, that it's okay to sometimes do less and to lower the bar. I also notice, again, the same with the first trimester, but also in the third trimester, when you experience a cold, it takes so much longer to heal from it. Before, after a week, it was done. And now, after 2 weeks, I still had like kind of symptoms of a cold, which is interesting. Of course, a lot of my energy goes to baby, so my immune system just takes a little less care of my own health situation, I guess. In addition, I didn't take any medication this time around during the cold. I was reading a lot of times that you have to ask your doctor whether you could take it, and then I would just rather munch on ginger, have enough sleep, make some ginger tea, some lime tea, eat fruits, veggies, make sure there's enough rest. So do the more natural way of healing rather than using medication. I also started to notice that I have more cravings. I am more hungry than before. And something else that was so funny to me is every single time I was amazed with how big my belly has gotten, or had gotten, and still is getting. It honestly is amazing to me how a baby can just grow so much. I notice a lot of baby movement, and I think it's so gezellig, to say it in Dutch. It's such a fun feeling. It feels cozy, it feels loving, it feels warm, it feels fun to get distracted by baby movements. The big belly is fun and all, and the movements is fun. However, it does become more difficult to moisturize your legs or to put on your shoes when you have a big belly. So it's kind of more like a frog style, or just try to lift my foot up on some surface and then put some cream on. Also, the wide-legged bend down movement is more common now rather than just straight legs and bend down. So I started to do yoga regularly starting in week 30, and I honestly wish I did that sooner, because I noticed that it helped me improve my flexibility. It is an exercise that is less harmful, less tiring. I could actually finish a class in 30 minutes, and I can see that there's an improvement in my flexibility. There's an improvement in how long I can hold these poses for. I use my breath work during these yoga activities, and I just follow online videos of pregnancy yoga classes here on YouTube, which I'm so thankful for all these people posting their knowledge online. And it's honestly amazing to learn what your body is capable of. And I truly am feeling like yoga has helped me to not feel as worried about the labor part. As I know I can hold poses even though they feel difficult at times. I can just breathe through, and that will be the same probably, hopefully, during the contractions. During the third trimester, I didn't go for a run at all. What I noticed during the second trimester, which I forgot to mention in last week's video, is that when I would go for a run, as soon as I would start bouncing from running, I would have to pee. And that was so annoying. I do now go for walks more often. Getting dressed has also become more of a puzzle. Thankfully, I have a lot of clothing that still fit me because it's high waist or it's like with an elastic band. However, I, especially for work, started to not know what to wear, since most of my outfits have to do with high-waisted fashion items, so to speak. And not a lot of maternity clothes are set up like that. So I was wearing jeans more often, like the maternity jeans, and I would wear dresses still, of course, and skirts, but a lot of it started to not feel comfortable, especially after a working day when the elastic band still fits over my tummy, but at the end of the day, it would kind of feel tight again. I couldn't wait to get home and just get into something comfortable. Sometimes I would notice that baby could just step on my bladder, and then it was like a button like, oh, you have to go pee. Baby was head up for a long time. That's why I feel like baby was stepping on it. I also noticed during the third trimester that I would cry so much And that was a lot of the times just a thankful cry, you know, like, oh, I'm so grateful that I'm pregnant. I'm so grateful everything is okay. I'm so grateful for a partner like Musa. I'm so grateful for our health. And like it's kind of funny to cry like that. If I think about it too much, I probably could cry right now. But to be so grateful that you could cry with all these hormones and therefore emotions that could just come up. Also watching YouTube videos of some informative videos, for example, and then there was just one shot of a baby looking at the parent, and then I could cry. Or learning about getting to know the baby, I could cry. Thinking about giving the baby breast milk, I could cry. Like, there's so much to be grateful for, to be honest. And thanks to this baby, I'm gonna become a mom. According to my partner, he sees in the third trimester I'm tired more quickly, which I think is funny that he is saying that right now in this trimester. Something else I do now is I move a lot slower. So for example, when I'm in bed and I lay on one side and I want to turn because my hip hurts or I'm just not comfortable anymore and my arm is sleeping, then I go to the other side in slow motion. And where before I would get an ache because I would move too quick, I don't even move too quick anymore. I just do it in slow motion because that's how it feels better, I guess. Sometimes I also felt like I had to move to the other side because of baby. For example, I would really feel on one side of my tummy, it was kind of like too full or something in me just told me I need to move to the other side because baby is uncomfortable. Not sure if that's really true or if I was just uncomfortable, but yeah, that's what I also did. In addition, getting up, I do it more slowly. I make sure to do it the safe way. Before, my partner would keep having to remind me, Fee, you have to get up in a different way. Or the doctor would tell me, you should get up differently. And now it's just more common sense to just, you know, sit up safely. I feel like I started to be more mindful of moving more slowly at around the 30-week mark. Around the 30-week mark, I felt something like a arm or a foot in my rib. That was just one time. It wasn't painful, but that was something I felt because baby is more laying towards the front and I guess a little lower located. So I don't really feel things in my ribs that much, but that was the first time I felt, oh yeah, you're actually touching my rib, baby. So I thought that was cool because I could finally understand what other people were talking about, even though it was just once. I don't really get acid reflux that much. I honestly cannot complain about all the things that are happening to me during this pregnancy because my body is treating me so well. This baby is so kind to me. However, I sometimes at nighttime, I get once acid reflux, like a tiny bit. And that's from certain dishes. Like for example, if we use some palm oil in dishes, I could get an acid reflux moment once after we go to bed. Or it had happened with pasta sauce, with like the red pasta sauce. I had it even with peanut butter, either in sauce or in a Gambian dish that we made. But it's not that bad. It's just one time and then I take a sip of water and it's done. So can't really call that a symptom that's too noticeable for me. Same with the cramps. I feel like in bed, if I would stretch, sometimes I would get a little cramp, but nothing too bad, and I would just know to keep my foot like that instead of pointed. However, the other day, my partner and I were walking in the city getting some ice cream, and then when I got up, I felt this cramp out of nowhere, which I don't understand why. And then I just had to stretch it out a little bit, but I kept feeling it a little bit. So maybe I just didn't have enough magnesium that day or needed some more salt. My blood pressure, for example, which was measured today, was on a little lower side. So she mentioned, oh, you can just keep eating salt. Are you lightheaded? Not really. And we do use enough salt in our foods. So I'm not worried about not having enough salt. So I mentioned at the beginning of this video that I would feel my right hip. And I told my doctor, and she mentioned, okay, you probably have to use your booty muscles more while standing. So ever since just squeezing my booty muscles, so my tummy is more like inward, so to speak, and my back is more arched, but still straight, if that makes sense, I feel this hip thing less, which is nice. Earlier in the third trimester, I had the second blood scan where they just did a little dot and put it in a machine to check my iron, because that's all that I needed. I didn't need to withdraw blood that time because I don't have other issues going on. I neither ever had to drink one of those sweet drinks that some people talk about, that they use to test your blood sugar. Also not necessary for me, which now I didn't know what they were talking about, but you know, it's fine because I don't have to withdraw blood. Anywho, for those of you that know me, know I can't stand blood. And the first time they pricked my finger, which the pain is not bad at all, like you barely feel it. However, me overthinking it can make things worse, or me looking at it can make things worse. So I was talking to some people, and then the machine gave an error, so it had to happen again. Second time around, I was focusing a lot on what I was feeling and how it could look like. I wasn't even looking. And then I started to feel like, uh-oh, I'm gonna faint, which is ridiculous. I mean, of course, if I would choose to not have it, I would choose to not have it, but that's not how it goes right now. And I felt my hearing going away. I felt a sweat attack, and I just had to lay down on the ground. So I lay down on the floor, which was nice and cold, and I think I lay there for about 20 to 30 minutes, while the rest was just continuing on their information. But yeah, that happened. I wasn't prepared that I was gonna have that day. But thankfully, my iron level is 7, which is good, because 6.3, I believe, is too low, or anything below 6.3 is too low. So I'm still good, which is nice. You know, me with my vegan diet. More on that later on. So I was at work writing report cards, and out of nowhere, I felt on the top of my belly a lot of bubbles, like a lot. And I hadn't felt it like that. And then I felt nothing. And I was worried. I was like, oh, is something wrong? And then I did feel movement again. So I thought baby has moved. However, when they felt it without a scan, they couldn't really make sure that that truly was the booty and not the head. So then when I was 35 weeks, there was a scan, and baby indeed turned around, because baby has been kind of stubborn and has been head up for a while. So I actually did certain exercises where I did downward dog or puppy dog pose, or my knees on the couch and my hands down so baby could turn. I asked my partner to talk at the bottom of my belly more often. I thought maybe that could help. And I even read online you can try to put a flashlight at the bottom of your tummy and baby could become interested, but we really didn't do that. Baby had turned, which I'm so grateful for. And then it was really a realization that labor is coming close. I started to write my birth plan and share that with the people I want there, as well as my doctor today. We actually discussed it today. And baby is still laying well. Baby is laying in enough placenta water. So according to the doctor, she doesn't think baby's gonna come anytime soon. Maybe baby will just stay with me until week 40 or longer. And yeah, we're so blessed. We're so blessed. My partner and I actually did a little photo shoot even at the beach, because I wanted to make sure that we had something to look back on. And the belly is so big and the stripe is getting more and more profound, which is so cool to learn and see, and I'm so curious what baby's gonna be like. So curious. Something else I notice now, towards the end of the third trimester, I am hot so quickly. Even when it's not that hot, I often just want to wear a tank top and have my belly showing because I'm too hot to deal with it down. I have a fan on me at night. So that is also a part of pregnancy. I heard that you're warmer, especially my boobs are a lot warmer now. And with the growing belly, everything is touching, which makes it hotter and sweatier. But you know, everything is for a good reason, right, baby? I'm so excited. Yeah, you're moving. Something else I'm noticing lately is that I am becoming more burpy again. So that is nice. I'm also getting more gassy again. Baby's really getting bigger. Baby's really pushing on my organs. And yeah, that's all a part of it. That's all that I wrote about the third trimester. As I mentioned before in this video, I'm 37 weeks pregnant at the moment, and a lot can still happen. Either baby decides to come today, tonight, tomorrow, or 5 weeks from now, or, you know, maybe I need some medical help. Inshallah, we don't need that. We can safely deliver baby in a natural way, but time will tell. And it's so beautiful to experience this. It's honestly such a miracle to be able to grow a baby within you. I've heard a lot of people talk about how they miss feeling the movement of baby in their belly, and I think I can understand why. But I'm so curious. What is baby gonna be like? And then interacting with baby. There I am, still getting emotional. Okay, that's okay. That's the hormones for you. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you like it, please leave a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and we can have a conversation there. Subscribe if you would like, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye-bye.